Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Magic in the Midwest podcast. This is podcast number Old Enough to Drink 21.
Wow.
Podcast number 21, Old Enough to Drink in the United States of America.
Our podcast is growing up.
Yes, it is.
Way too fast.
Way too fast. Going by quick. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Magic in the Midwest podcast. I am J.B. Michaels, USA Today best-selling author of many books, and I am joined by my more successful wife,
Ashley Michaels.
And yes, please, check out MrMichaels.com. As the books do help sponsor the Magic in the Midwest podcast. Also, we have a couple new Bandcamp subscribers today.
We do.
Thank you. So, Greg and Lacey, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for subscribing to Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com, where you could get double.
You've made a great decision, guys.
You have. You have.
Best.
Thank you. Yes. So.
But we appreciate it, and also I want to say too that we've gotten a few more messages and emails lately, and it makes JB and I really happy to read those and get those and respond to you guys. So always, write in if you feel so inclined. We love hearing from our, listeners. Makes us feel cool and important.
Yes.
And we need to feel that, guys.
Right.
Because we don't have anything else going on.
We are big time losers.
Yep. No. Just JB.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Not true.
This is bothering me.
Okay. Yeah. My wife is absolutely nuts.
No.
All right. So, okay. Now. So yes, thank you very much for subscribing, and remember everybody else, please check out the Bandcamp exclusive episodes. For $3 a month, you get double the episodes, double the content of JB and Ash, usually in the form of an attraction smackdown or a theme park smackdown, or just lots of silliness.
Yeah, there's usually a little bit more banter, a little bit more.
Because at that point we're very sick of recording, as with each other.
We really, yes. I'm not sick of recording. I'm sick of recording
with me.
You.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, we have a lot of fun doing this, you guys. We always walk away from recording like,
Yeah.
It's fun. It's happy.
It is.
Mostly.
So
anyways, yes, check it out.
Yeah, so today we thought we would, again, remember we're alternating the park-specific episodes with special topics episodes, and today's special topic episode is just our favorite and most fond Epcot memories. Mm-hmm. And for me, that is a lot of memories going back to when I was 4 years old. What is wrong with you?
Why were you both touching our noses?
Why did you just do that?
Well, I was touching my nose.
Oh, I thought you were telling me I had something I got to take care of over here.
No.
On my nose. Okay, all right. So
you probably do, though.
Shut up. Okay, so why don't we start with Ash? Ash, what is your? We'll give 3 to 5 each. Give us an Epcot memory.
Yeah. So I think we'll share. This will be one that we share. But Epcot was the first Disney park that you and I walked into together.
Yes.
And to be honest, there's not like a lot of specifics I remember, because at the time, I had only been to Disney once before when I was a kid, so I was sort of just taking it all in. But it was really awesome to be there. We were there during the Flower and Garden.
Yes.
And it was beautiful, so much to look at. We had dinner at, which Italian restaurant did we have?
Via Napoli.
And that was really good. It was just, I think we flew in that morning, and we went to Epcot that evening.
Yes.
And it was just a really great, special memory.
Yeah.
To experience that with the man that I was
would become your husband.
We were already engaged, but it was it was awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And I'll have to post some silly photos from that day, because there's funny pictures of us posing by some of the what topiaries.
Yeah, the topiaries.
So yeah, it was it's just fun, and now it seems like such a long time ago.
It does. Lots of life in between there.
Indeed.
So that was in the spring.
That was when we could just get on a plane and
right.
Go.
Yes.
No children bags, no strollers.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Just go.
Yeah, just go. Just get out.
Relax.
Freedom from the choices we've made. Now that we're with the choices we've made, and we're stuck with. We're stuck with these choices.
He's always interrupting our podcast. So that's one of my very favorite Epcot memories.
Yes, that's a good one. I could add to that. I think I actually took a picture of us, or not a picture, but a video of us walking, out of Epcot that night.
Well, that's when you had that
the international,
phone
the HTC one,
the Zoe
that did this cool Zoe thing, which actually was well ahead of its time.
It was.
It's sort of like a TikTok
Everything else
type
about
of thing.
that phone was terrible,
except for that.
And I got one. I ended up getting one just for that feature.
Yeah, and then it kind of just...
And then I was like, well, the messaging's a problem.
Well, because of... that's an Apple issue. Apple doesn't want to play nice with anybody, including Android
Sounds
folks.
like that's a separate podcast.
So, yeah, it is a separate podcast. JB's Technology Podcast.
Oh, that's a really creative name.
Isn't it so? Shut up.
Saw?
Isn't it so? I said, isn't it so,
said
not
Saw.
Saw. You're sick. You're thinking of murder movies. Saw murder.
I didn't like that, really.
Murder.
That's not really my...
Jam? Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, all right. So...
Do you know me at all?
No.
We're married.
No. I don't. There's always
scary movie podcast.
Peeling back layers of our mysteries.
Yeah, it's not always a good thing to peel back layers.
No, it's not, especially
this is
with
not what I signed up for.
No. That was a really great memory. I remember that night specifically. I think you had like a black dress on. Why do I remember you having a black? No, maybe that was a different time.
No, I don't think so.
I know.
I wouldn't have worn a dress on a plane, I don't think.
No, it wasn't on a plane.
I usually wear like sweats.
We went to the room first before we went to the park.
I don't think I changed.
We went to Boardwalk. The milk was all over my...
Okay, we don't need to...
you remember that, right? We told you that.
Yes, it is a memory. It's not a...
The breast milk was all over my suitcase.
You guys.
I'm dragging somebody else's milk.
All right, don't make...
all over the lobby at the Boardwalk.
It was pre-kids.
Gross.
And we get off at the Boardwalk, and JB grabs his bag, and he's rolling it. And all of a sudden, I notice I'm walking behind him that there's something's dripping out of the bag. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I didn't have anything in there.
And he didn't have anything in there. And this other lady's breast milk, which now, as a mother...
Have we told this on the main podcast? Or maybe this was on a SmackDown?
No, I think it was on the SmackDown.
Okay. Well,
some lady's hard-earned pumped breast milk spilled onto your luggage. I don't really care
if it was hard earned.
Yeah, you wouldn't, because you're not a woman.
Get your milk.
No, if you have to
secure
travel. No, I gotta tell the whole story because it's alarming.
Secure your milk.
So anyways, I'm sure she tried, but they probably threw her bag in there. Do not. You have no idea. I'll punch you in the face and everyone can listen to it. No, but she, something happened and the milk spilled and it was all over JB's suitcase and then it was dripping out and,
Yeah.
JB's solution, by the way, guys. So it was like literally dripping every 2 feet in the lobby. There
I
was
actually had to
coming out of the suitcase.
The bell services guys, hey guys, I don't know what's happening, but
it's not from us.
There's a lot of milk
it is, but it
all over.
Wasn't.
Then we saw the mom come in, and I slapped her. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh! I would have been engaged.
No, I didn't slap her.
No. But JB was he's being silly, but he was very understanding and felt bad. But when we got up to the room, JB's solution for this was to take the clothes that had been wet from the breast milk and just put them out to dry. Let's take a moment and all cringe together because that is terrifying. I was like, no, you need to wash these or at least rinse them out. You can't have dry breast milk on your clothes. So that's the man I
That would have been gross.
Dry breast milk at the boardwalk.
Yes. But then we walked.
Breast milk boardwalk.
We changed. We got into some new clothes. We, we had a view of the Eiffel Tower from our room.
Now, why did we do a deluxe hotel for that stay?
Because they were running a promo.
Because we didn't have kids yet.
Well, they were running a promo for that, but also it was 30% off.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, well,
I'm surprised there was a promo at that time for the boardwalk during Flower and Garden.
Well, they do that.
I think that was back when.
The springtime, it was post spring break, so spring breaks are done, but people are still. It's also not the summer rush.
So it's like the end
So it's like
of school,
this in between
where
time.
a lot of people don't come.
So yeah,
or it's not super
softer time period.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was our first memory. Then we went in, and you went to the bathroom right away, and the croc topiary from Peter Pan was right outside the UK bathroom.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I was inside the red telephone booth.
Did we grab a
waiting
margarita when we walked in?
I don't know if we went and got margaritas right away. I'm not sure, because we were at the International Gateway.
Right.
I don't know if we walked right to there. I'm not sure.
Maybe we walked in that direction.
Yes. All right. So, my first memory of Epcot was as a child in the 1980s. And I remember having breakfast at the Electric Umbrella, I believe it was. So this is a restaurant in actually now it's like a quick service, but I think at the time we had a table service, breakfast, at Epcot in Future World with my grandparents and with my parents and my sisters. And we went and we were eating, and then all of a sudden, Mickey and Donald and Goofy and Pluto and Minnie came in all dressed up in space astronaut suits that had rainbow, it was silver with rainbow shoulder pads and rainbow
Sounds very
elbow pads.
80s.
Oh yeah, it was very 80s.
In the best way.
We have pictures of this.
Oh.
Yes, and it was really neat. And I remember that very fondly. So that was pretty cool. Which, before that time, that was a little later in the 80s, a few years after Epcot had opened. Not that long after Epcot had opened, but it was when Eisner had taken over, and he said he wanted to have more characters in Epcot.
It must have been the mid-80s if you were 4.
Yeah, it was the mid-80s. So, and Epcot opened in 82. The first few years, there was absolutely zero. They were Disney was no characters whatsoever, which we'll talk about more in the SmackDown. So I remember that specifically, and I remember it being really fun and really cool. We were surprised.
Yeah.
That, they were there, and they just had really cool outfits on. They don't always have, cool outfits on. It depends on the time. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So yeah, that was one of my fondest early memories of Epcot. What do you got? What's your next memory of Epcot Center?
So the next one that comes to mind is from a trip we took after we were married. I think it was 2014, July 2014. And we were sitting having dinner at the Rose and Crown. And it was a rough trip for me because I just didn't feel super well, and I couldn't figure out why that was. And it turns out little Harrison Harry was on the way, and I just was blissfully unaware at the time.
Yes.
So we had lots of drinks and went on lots of rides.
Yes.
It was very, very, very early, and we just didn't know.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting down at dinner, and it was one of the only times that I didn't feel I kept getting sick at night, which I think is one of the reasons I didn't think about being pregnant, because you always hear about morning sickness.
Yeah.
But I kept getting sick at dinner, and you and I had this nice dinner at the Rose and Crown, and we watched Illuminations, and I actually felt okay.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting there thinking it was a beautiful view and a really
We actually had the
dinner.
best table. We had a table that was closest to the water. It wasn't on the patio, but it was still inside. It wasn't on the... There's a patio that's lower, that's right on the water. And then there's a patio that's above
How do you get
that.
on that lower patio?
You can. You could just
ask.
Yeah.
But wait, I wasn't done yet.
Okay.
Interrupted.
I didn't know. I thought you were
But
done.
I just remember thinking about how lucky I was, because we were married and
Yeah.
at the time I was very smitten with you and
At the time?
no,
Wow.
but we were, we just had this magical place that we both loved together and we were sitting at a nice restaurant and, a beautiful park watching this really awesome show and eating good food. It was just,
Yes.
in the Rose and Crown, as you will, come to know, and you probably already know, is a very special place for Jim and his family, or JB and his family, sorry. So, having that be part of it too was just, yeah. And now there was a picture you took of us where
we
were
have
both,
it.
and
It was right there.
I loved looking at that picture later on because I didn't know that there was a little tiny
The little baby.
baby inside. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, that's one of my favorite memories.
Yes, that was a really good one. I remember that fondly as well. And it was I even remember the meal. Like, we were actually one of the only people in the Rosy Ground that night. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a couple, behind us, but they had left.
Yeah.
And we were the last ones there. Like, we had watched Illuminations, and then we had just chilled for a while.
I think we had another round, a second round of drinks,
Yeah.
maybe, and we just
Which is rare for me.
Yeah, we
'cause
usually don't.
I don't really
But
usually
we just
do that.
sat there
Yeah.
and we kind of sipped whatever drink we were having and just
Yeah.
kind of took it in.
Yeah, I think I had shepherd's pie for dinner. And, it was just a really nice, good dinner. It was really, really a great spot, perfect spot. It was awesome. I agree. It was a good memory. Okay. Next, so that was your second. Here's my second memory. One of my fondest memories of Epcot. My family had sort of a tradition, which we talked about briefly last time, but we would, after Illuminations, we would skip out of Epcot. Just skip out like idiots. Guys,
I
grab
just want
each
to say
other's...
real quick that they say this. I've never seen it happen. So.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, whatever. But yeah, we would skip our way out of the World Showcase. What did you say?
Liar.
No, I'm not a liar. All right, and that was really fun. And then what was cool too is that we would just go walk into Mouse Gears on the way out because it's open still because they want you to
you should do.
Buy
Guys,
stuff.
don't run out. There's no point in waiting a huge transportation line.
No, there really
Go
is.
into the stores.
Just milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would
Spend money you don't have.
spend money. We would go into Epcot, into Mouse Gear, which is in Future World the huge souvenir shop,
He's fine.
and then we would also that was just really fun to do. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever been in Mouse Gears, it's just this massive store. It's like the Epcot's version of the Emporium.
Man, wouldn't you give anything right now just to be putzing around Epcot at night
Yeah.
after Illuminations? Because
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, it'd be
I just
nice.
want to do it.
There's no Illuminations anymore.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. It would be nice. It would be nice. We would do that. We would do the skip thing. That was always kind of fun to do. Just silly little things that you do, at the end of the day. And then, there was always that. Also, just staring at the ball, at Spaceship Earth.
The ball ride.
The ball ride. It's just so pretty at night. The way they light it up, it's just gorgeous. The pinks, the purples, it's just a really...
Yeah.
It's like you're in a special place, right? Because, where are you going to see that? You don't see that anywhere else.
Oh no, it's
you don't see
amazing.
Spaceship Earth.
It's breathtaking. And I think one thing I really love about the Disney community is that there's a lot of stories like JB's, or skipping out of Epcot, whether it be designing your family shirts that year, whatever it is. I feel like Disney fans have a lot of those little things that they do that make their trip more special or silly, and it's cool.
It is.
It's nerdy and great, and I love it.
Yeah. It really is nerdy. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So it's just a really great special place. All right, go ahead. Your next memory. I got plenty, but I wanted to throw it over to you.
Okay. Another one for me is this is another trip while I was pregnant. We did, I guess, a few in a row there.
We did.
We packed a few in there.
Well, the reason for that is because we bought into DVC.
We did.
And when we bought into DVC, of course, they give you like a huge double points, like basically.
They did. So we were.
So we had so many points. And then you got pregnant right away, basically. We were gonna go to Aulani, and that didn't happen.
Gonna go to Hawaii.
Yeah. Way to go, Harrison, ruin everything. Okay. But yes. I mean, let's be real. We joke and we laugh, but we mean it. No. So we had a huge amount of points. A big, we were like, well, we got to use these points, otherwise, we were going to lose them.
So the first trip we booked, so we got married, and then we booked a trip, which was the trip where I didn't know I was pregnant. So that was the July trip. And then we had a trip planned for October.
With our parents.
With your parents and my parents. Because, JB and I met, and we didn't date, like, super long. I mean, it was under a year, and then our engagement was under a year from there. So our parents, we felt like, didn't really get to know each other. So we wanted to do a trip, and I'm so glad we did, because I feel like when you do something like that, you kind of get to know each other very quickly. But so anyways, going back to it. So yes, I was like, how many months pregnant? I think I was not quite halfway.
3 months pregnant?
Like 4 months pregnant or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and I was just starting to show, which I remember thinking was exciting. But yeah, I remember that. And so we were at Epcot, standing right at the entrance of the World Showcase, right? To watch, that's where we watch Illuminations.
From Future World.
From Future World,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And our dads, I think, had went back to the room in, true dad form. They wanted to go back and relax and fall asleep and, whatever.
Yeah.
And
watch football.
Yeah, my mom and your mom were there, and it was a really special time because, there was a grandbaby on the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you guys always had a special, I feel like, JB and his mom and his family always get emotional at Magic Kingdom too, but at Epcot in a different way, because it was your grandfather's favorite park.
Yeah.
So there was that, but it was just, I thought of it differently, knowing that we were having a baby, and it was just really special that, our parents were both there.
Yeah.
I thought we were very lucky to have that. I mean, we stayed in this 2-bedroom at
Saratoga Springs,
and, we just had a really nice time.
It was.
But I just, we all got really emotional watching the fireworks that night.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. It was very nice. And then we chilled. We stayed for a while, just chilled and waited, and waited to leave.
Yeah.
So that was also really, really nice. There's a funny story that goes with that, because your dad and my dad went back together.
No, that wasn't that night.
It was the same night.
It was that was
Epcot.
The parade. Oh, okay.
No, that wasn't the parade night.
Guys, if JB thinks he's right, whether he is or not.
No, that wasn't the parade night.
All right.
Believe me.
Just tell the story. Okay?
Believe me, I remember.
See how defensive he got? No.
Well, you got to go hard at her, because she'll come hard at you guys. She'll come hard at you.
Does it seem like that?
You got to hang tough.
No.
You have to hang
JB is never
tough.
Wrong, guys. Never.
I am definitely wrong for marrying you, for sure.
I'm definitely wrong for saying yes. Hashtag mistake. No,
someone
no,
else.
tell the story.
Call the hotline.
Oh my gosh, call it for me.
Okay, well, now that we're at that superfluous detail that made no difference to the story, we got a text message. I got a text message.
Man.
From...
You're the worst.
Well, from my dad. And he was like, we were here in the room watching football, and your dad fell asleep mid-sentence.
Yeah, my dad. You're telling it in a confusing way.
Yes, so, it was just really funny.
My dad, you guys, is the best. I love him. But he is
gets
known
up at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, he gets up at like 4 in the morning, and by 8, he's really tired. And he can fall asleep anywhere. And he's notorious for falling asleep like holding the remote almost. He won't wake up to any loud sound, but if you take the remote, he definitely wakes up. And he'll wake back up 20 minutes later and
resume
continue
his conversation.
Yes, like mid-sentence. That's sort of what he does. And we're used to it because we grew up with it, so we don't think a lot of it. But Jim's dad got to experience that with no one else around. He just said that,
he fell asleep and then he woke up.
Fell asleep
and kept
while
talking.
they were talking, and then he was just out, and then he woke up and kept talking, and, he thought that was, super funny, which it is.
It was really funny. I mean, when you never experienced it, you're like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
Usually...
Last year, when we went to Disney with my parents,
he fell asleep.
My dad was floating on a noodle in the pool and fell asleep. I was like, well, we can't leave, because what if he falls off the noodle? Yes, that happened. Like, more than one time. He's just talking to us and laughing with Harrison in the pool, and then...
Yeah, and then he's like, he's asleep.
Upright, on the noodle.
He's...
asleep.
Asleep, yes. Yeah, that was great. All right. So wait, did we... Yes, okay, so that was here. So then, another great Epcot memory was in the Rosencrown. We were at the Fitzpatricks. Mm-hmm. With the Fitzpatricks was our really close friends of the fam that I grew up with. So it was the Michaels family and the Fitzpatrick family. This was before Ash. And we were hanging out in Rosencrown. Of course, Dad and Mark were very happy to be at the Rosencrown because they could just get a steady flow of beer, of brews.
Who doesn't like that?
Right, a steady flow of ales. So we sat there, and after Illuminations, of course, we watched Illuminations from there, and then when we were done, we kind of chilled out and hung out in the bar, the pub, the Rosencrown pub. And there was a guy doing magic tricks. Yeah, with cards.
How come I didn't know this part?
He worked at Disney, and he was just sitting there.
I want that job.
It was pretty neat.
I like magic.
He was, yeah. Ash had a Lance Burton magic set with the fake thumb and everything.
I was like 15.
But she likes it. It's okay.
I do. I love magic.
It's called the podcast is called Magic in the Midwest.
Well, I know, but it's not about Lance Burton.
It's about Ashley's love of magic in the Midwest. So we just sat. I remember sat there and just this guy was doing card tricks, for us. Mm-hmm. It was really fun. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a really... Sorry, Ash is just sticking her finger down her throat. What's happening? Are you okay?
No, I'm not sticking my finger down my throat. I'm having a tooth...
A tooth issue? Oh, boy.
Yeah, just keep talking.
All right, yeah. If we stopped for Ashley's issues, we'd never get through a podcast. Oh. So that was a really fun time. And I remember we kind of stayed, long after the park closed. Like, I felt like, we definitely did not want to leave. And, they kept serving us. So, we just, my dad and Mark, Fitz just kept...
getting overserved.
Having some beers. Yeah, it was an interesting act. And then getting on the bus with them was interesting,
I'm
too.
sure it was.
They were feeling pretty good.
I'm sure they were.
Pretty good. And I remember... Yeah, we can't tell that story.
Don't.
But, all right, so lots of fun memories. You have one more? You got another one? Or?
Yeah, I can share another one. So, of course, it's similar to my other stories, but we were watching Illuminations right by the Rose and Crown, and everyone had, like, a drink or beer or whatever, and we were there with your parents and your sister Emily and her daughter Audrey, and Harrison was 1.5. And there is a moment that we have a picture of.
Yeah.
But I remember we bought him one of those little glow sticks that you can make into like a necklace. And he had it around his neck, and he was just this little chubby you know,
toddler.
I mean, he had been walking for a while, but he was,
toddler.
you know, he was just toddling around, and, you know, it was just, you know, thinking back on all the trips before that of, you know, being there the year before, or 2 years before with him in my belly, not knowing, and then
here he is.
A little bit later with him in my belly and our 2 moms there with us, and then having him there with your family, and just that little glow. It was just like this little glow around this little tiny boy.
Yeah, it was really
he was
cute.
never tiny. This husky boy.
Yeah, it was really cute.
And he was just looking up at the sky, waiting for them to start. And, you know, it was just, like I said, we have the picture of it, but I also remember it vividly.
Yeah,
Just him waiting.
And
stuffing his face with, like, Cheetos or something.
Right.
You know.
Who bought him the glow sticks? Was it Mom or Emily? Or who was it?
I think it was one of them. I think me, Emily, and your mom walked over to this cart where they had all this like
Irish
glowing
stuff. It was like an Irish.
And we got some stuff for her, for Audrey and for Harrison. But
it was
you know, he was just so little, and it was just sweet.
Yeah, it was.
Because we went once with him when he was 5 months. Also, you guys know there's a lot of trips in like a very small span of time.
Yes.
Because we had all those points.
Yeah.
But, you know, this was the trip where he was just more aware of things, and, you know, it was it was sweet.
Yes. So, and then, you know, there are so many memories. I mean, I'm sure we're skipping some we've already talked about, like on our honeymoon with the Epcot, with the American Adventure. We've already talked about that, so we won't retread that. Mm-hmm. But we had a great experience in the American Adventure.
Very awesome.
With our pins on for our honeymoon. We can
do a quick recap of that.
That was a really cool thing. And then, of course, just, you know, the thing about Epcot, just like with Magic Kingdom and the other parks, you know, it's just it's about that feeling you have when you're there, and especially in the Florida heat when the sun goes down, the sun's going down. You just feel there's like a buzz. Everybody kind of feels a little better because like it's getting slightly cooler, not really, but it is getting cooler a little bit, and you just feel good. You know, and it's just an Epcot tradition of ours, you know, when we walk into Epcot, when we go to Mexico. And one tradition that my mom really loved to do was get those, you know, Fiesta margaritas, which are like the 5 flavored margaritas.
Which they don't have anymore.
Yeah, which they don't have anymore. So, but what do they have a 3 flavored one, not 5, right? I think they only do the 3 now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, we just would, you know, we still make it a point to make sure we get our margarita, you know, and
not a bad tradition, guys.
No, and it's for Mom. We always clean glasses, and you know, for all units, Irene. Mm-hmm. You know,
yes,
and then so this is why Epcot. This is when I said last time on the attraction or the theme park SmackDown, why this park why I struggle sometimes to say that MK is my favorite or that Epcot is my favorite, because like I always say, you know, at times I would like alternate which one was my favorite. Well, you know these are some of the things I'm going to go into now. So it was definitely my grandfather's favorite park. Mm-hmm. And my grandfather was, you know, I knew him from obviously it was when he died when I was 14 years old. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have not a whole lot of time, you know, with him. You know, I'm thankfully I did have time. My other grandfather, I had 0 time really.
Yeah.
But my grandfather just loved Epcot, and he loved the World Showcase. He just really loved it. And I remember we went to the beer garden, and there's a cool picture that I took of us in the beer garden in Germany, the whole family eating together. And it's a picture of my dad with a beer stein and my grandfather with a beer stein. and they're clinking glasses, and they're both laughing like something. Probably my grandfather said something funny, because that's what he did, and they started laughing, and they clinked glasses, and I don't know who took the picture, probably my mom or somebody. And it's just a really wonderful picture that is just captured forever. And I took that picture one Christmas, and I put it in a frame, and I went to that, things engraved store at the mall or whatever.
Things remembered.
Things remembered. Yeah, things engraved. Like your
He's talking about
stone.
This sentimental thing, and I'm like, no, that's not.
Nope. So things engraved. Say, please put this on my tombstone.
All right.
Sorry. Okay. All right. So anyway, and I put in old English font, "The Best Men," and gave it to my dad for a Christmas, one Christmas. And it was after my grandfather passed. It wasn't my dad's dad. It was my mom's dad.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen my dad, get as emotional as he did when he opened that gift.
Yeah.
It was a very special gift. And it's because
of things engraved.
Right. Shut up. It was because of Epcot and the beer garden and just having a great time at the show and at dinner and having some beer with, your father-in-law,
And I think every family or a lot of families have some place in Disney World, wherever it is, that there's some story attached to, an extra memory. For your family, it's the Rose and Crown.
Yeah, which there's one more for Rose and Crown.
And
I'll wait for
the Mexico Pavilion with the margaritas is a special place. And a friend of mine that is a fan of the podcast shared a special story about a perfume that they found in
Norway,
right? And so that's a special place for them. But it's always cool to hear, because we tend to focus on certain countries in the World Showcase at Epcot, and it's always great to hear people talk about different places that they have these memories.
Do you have any more memories of Epcot?
I do, but I feel like I've shared the ones that I want to share.
So. Well, the last one we had was really fun with where we did the test track. I think you shared that the last time with test track, and it was raining, and me and your mom,
that was fun.
Harrison, we kind of went in and got on test track, and
we did, and it kind of closed down, and even walking over, because we stayed at the boardwalk, so we walked through the International Gateway, but we were walking over there. It's raining. We're taking cover, trying to get over there.
Yeah,
and then we get over there, and it's closed down, and. And everyone's sort of waiting. Are they going to open it back up? Oh, we heard maybe they will, or no, they won't. And people are leaving, and some people are staying. And we, ran on and got on in 10 minutes. One other thing I will share is that, when we went last year with my parents, we went on Soarin', and
that was awesome.
I'll never forget the look on their faces.
So happy.
They loved that ride. I mean, my dad was smiling from ear to ear, and so was my mom, and it was just...
And that was just you three on that, wasn't it? I don't think I was on that ride, because they wouldn't let him on.
No, he went on this last year.
Was I on the same one?
I remember, because he was a little nervous.
Okay, yeah.
Harrison was sitting, I think you were on my left, and then it was me, and then Harrison, and then Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
But, because he was tall enough the year before, but for some reason, they wouldn't let him on. So this was the first year, this last time we went was the first year he could go on that. So it was cool that he was experiencing it, and then I looked out, and they, were just having the best time on that ride.
They were.
Yeah, which would later be topped by another ride. Yes. But that was their favorite.
At the time.
Yeah.
For a few days. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that was great. And another fond memory of mine was the very first morning of that last trip with your parents was walking into World Showcase, through the International Gateway, walking into Epcot. And just your parents were holding Harrison's hand, the two of them. Mm-hmm. I took a picture of that.
Yeah.
And that was just special. It was, here's his grandparents, here's our little guy, it's special. These are things you want to remember and capture.
Totally.
And what a highlight for me was Le Chefs de France with your parents. We had a really nice dinner. We just had a really nice dinner.
We did. Yeah. It was enjoyable and great pictures. We'll have to post those pictures too.
But. Yeah, good pictures. It was a really nice
Our server dinner. Was really sweet, and we had a really good table right by the windows.
We had a window table. I think that was cool. We weren't like in the interior, which I liked. I liked that we were near the windows, so that was really nice. Mm-hmm. We have some good pictures from that. That was really cool. So lots of great memories.
Yeah, I mean, there's more.
There's always more. I'm sure we'll do more, but. And then lastly, the reason why the Rosencrown's such a big deal. Well, my grandfather was, of English origin himself, and he just liked going there and having a drink. Him and Dad would have another beer over at the Rosencrown. Mm-hmm. And this was another time where the park was closed. People were heading out. It was after illuminations. And I was little. This was when I was a little kid. And my grandfather must have been feeling pretty good, but he could be silly without having drinks, really. So he was just being silly. Mm-hmm. And he was entertaining us while we were kind of just chilling because, Mom was just like, oh, let's just, Grandma and Mom and everybody's like, oh, let's just relax for a little bit, let the crowds, get out, let everybody walk out in front of us. And then my grandfather, who had notoriously large ears, he was a very good-looking man. He had these beautiful blue eyes that, just sparkled, every year of his, they never didn't have their sparkle. So he had these really pretty, light blue eyes. And he had a little bit of gray, but he had mostly his hair was perfectly good head of hair and, not that much gray, So it was dark hair. And he was just sitting there, with us. And he just started doing, we were doing impressions of, we were just doing, he just all of a sudden started doing this impression of a Disney character. We're like, what are you, what was happening? And he just took his big ears. Because, that was why it made it funnier. Because, he had big ears. And Grandma would say he had big ears. So it was like a thing. So he started taking his ears. He plucked his ears out really far and started flapping them like Dumbo. And we just all were very slap happy, I guess, and tired and just thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And it was really funny because he was doing it in front of all these people. Just flapping his ears around.
Silly.
Like Dumbo. So we just were like, oh my, it was just great. It was just really funny. It was just that, again, a memory that's so, poignant and focused in Epcot. So it was just right there, sitting inside the pub at the Rosencrown.
That's awesome.
He just started doing this flap at his ears, because he always, irreverent. We make fun of ourselves, a lot. But yeah, that was really cool, and that's why the Rosencrown is just this special place. So after he passed, it became even more special, right? And then every time Mom would go there, right, she would be emotional. Mm-hmm. And it was she just wanted to be there. She just wanted to be around there to remember her dad.
Yeah.
And that fun memory. And then make more memories. So it was cool when we had Harrison there. It's just really cool, the generations type of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
His great-grandfather, loved that place, and he was in the same place, which is cool. And now, now that Mom has passed, the margaritas are huge for us now, and the Rosencrown is, again, even more special because, and us, when we had that wonderful dinner, and little Harry was in your belly.
But it's all, it's all part of it.
Yeah. So those are our fondest Epcot memories.
Yes, and we would love to hear about yours.
Yes.
So you should, write in and, let us know. We love hearing from people that listen to, from you guys, from people that listen to the podcast, whoever you are.
Yes, whoever you are.
But, it makes our day to get messages like that because we really like doing this and it's really fun for us. So it's awesome to hear from people that are listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
So definitely let us know. Email us, message us, magicinthemidwestpodcast@gmail.com. Please rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, wherever you listen to the podcast. And, thank you again, subscribers, magicinthemidwestpodcast.bandcamp.com. Thank you to our Bandcamp subscribers. Anything else to add there, Ash?
I think you covered it.
Okay. All right. So cool. There's a lot more memories that we probably didn't even get to, but I'm sure we'll revisit them.
Yes.
At some point. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from the Midwest. See you later. Number 21.